ding dong, they just think they are. Another little wannabe gangster trying to play hard. Ding dong, they just think they are. Another little wannabe gangster trying to play hard. The guys then dip out the ends. Jump in the ride then burn out the rims. Don't stop, don't coach, the boy that I'm in. Now we doing the block hoodie up for events. Skin kept close, cause you plotting on them with the tits on 10. Batch in the back that's on tap, all ready to go and jump in. Ding dong, they just think they are. Another little wannabe gangster trying to play hard. Ding dong, they just think they are. Another little wannabe gangster trying to play hard. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong.
What's up everyone, China Cycling here. All that footage you saw in the intro just was shot with this, the brand new Insta360 Ace Pro. This is one of two new cameras from Insta360 designed to go head to head with the GoPro, so let's see, can it walk the walk? Now before we go any further, I do want to say thank you to Insta360 for sponsoring this video. So this is a sponsored video, so everything I say, take it with a grain of salt, but I'm free to say what I want and I choose to work with Insta360 because I think they make good products. You know, there's no one putting a dump truck of money out the back of the house and putting a gag over my mouth. No, I choose to work with Insta360 because I love the products they make, but I also love the products that lots of companies make. But I just want to be honest with you guys and let you guys know this is a sponsored video. I think I can stay objective with my opinion, but you guys look at the video footage and choose for yourself. So traditionally, Insta360 have never really gone head to head with GoPro. You know, they've made kind of like quirky cameras, so like 360 cameras like the X2 or the X3, and then maybe super small like thumb-sized cameras like the Go 2 and the Go 3, or like modular cameras where you can change lenses and stuff like the One and the One RS. So this is the first time that Insta360 have made kind of like a zero gimmicks, dedicated, all-out monster action camera. Now the Ace Pro is just that. It's an all-out raw power action camera, no gimmicks, no frills, and by just doing one job it can do it really, really well. Now let's go through some of the monster specs of this. So we've got a huge 1/1.3 inch sensor in here. We've got lenses that are co-engineered with Leica. We've got a super fast chipset inside to do some of the AI stuff and handle all the image processing and stuff. That chipset lets it do some crazy things. It can do 4K 120 without breaking a sweat, and a bunch of other cool stuff which we'll get into in a minute. As well as doing 4K 120, which is obviously super high frame rate to do slow-mo stuff, this thing can also shoot 8K. Yes, this can shoot in 8K. I don't know if you have a monitor that can view anything in 8K, but if you do, or if you just want to zoom in later and stuff, this can shoot in 8K. So just an absolute beast of a camera, but in today's video we're going to drop through all the different sections, like go through it element by element, see what it's good at, what it's not good at, is it good for cyclists, what makes it good for cyclists, and stuff like that. And of course, it wouldn't be fair if we didn't compare it to the GoPro itself. So here's the latest and greatest GoPro, the Hero 12 Black. We'll put them head to head and see who comes out on top. Don't do that. Talking about the physical appearance or the physical dimensions of the camera, so we've got 179 grams, so it's got some heft to it. Like if you're super weight obsessed, then you know maybe the Go series is for you. But if you want something that has power, it's going to have a bit of weight to it. But 179 grams, what's that, like 2-3 gels in your back pocket maybe? As for the screen, we've got two screens. So of course we've got a screen on the back and a screen on the front. Now the screen on your back is your screen where you can see what you're seeing and everything, and then the screen on your front tells you like what mode you're in and all these settings and stuff. Obviously that big blue light that turns red when you start recording, and you might say, well, I can't see myself on that screen, but boom, the screen is a flip up screen. So if you're shooting yourself, just flip the screen up and then you can see what you're shooting, but usually we can just be in this mode, and that way you get a lot clearer view of all your settings. Also in terms of physical size, you might be able to see that the GoPro is a tiny bit smaller than the Insta360. Again, you've got a bigger sensor in here, so the camera itself has to get a bit bigger, but it also means you get a bigger screen on the back so you can see what you're shooting a bit clearer. Let's check the startup time on both. So they're both turned off, but if we press the record button on both, we'll see how we get on. GoPro's recording, Insta360 recording. So like maybe that was half a second difference between the two, but nearest makes no difference, but it's a win for the GoPro if you're keeping score. So image quality, it can be a bit subjective. Obviously you can talk about pixels and bit rates and sensor size and stuff like this, but at the end of the day, if you think it looks good, it looks good. So I'll put some comparisons on here with the GoPro and the Insta360, and you guys can be the judge yourself. But for me personally, what I'm seeing here when I'm editing, I just don't think you can match the Insta360. Number one, the sensor is bigger, and then there's also more pixels on the sensor, which it's then subsampling to make an image. So that's the kind of thing that smartphones do these days. So most smartphone sensors these days have like a 48, 50 meg sensor, but by default when you take a picture, it just gives you a 12 megapixel image. But that 12 megapixel image is basically a super sharp, super detailed subsampling of the bigger 48 megapixel sensor. And that's basically what they're doing here. And having that super fast chip in there is what enables them to do that on the fly, even at crazy high frame rates like 120 frames per second. So yeah, a bit geeky, but yeah, that's what it can do. And also it's able to do some active HDR processing. So on the fly, if it detects your face and you've got like a blown out background, then it can lift the exposure of your face subtly so you can still see the details on there. And also like if you're just cycling through an area that's like really overcast with trees and you usually get really harsh shadows and all you can see is just sky and black trees, this will kind of like even it out so you can see more detail in the trees and stuff. Again, a lot of fancy gobbledygook, but all you have to know is press record, good image come out. Like I say, it can do 8K video, but most of the time you're better off just shooting in 4K video because then it will do the subsampling thing, and you've got nothing can display 8K anyway probably, so you may as well just shoot in 4K and get the better image quality from that. Another way to tell if a camera has good picture quality or not is to shoot at night and then see how it performs. So you'll be able to see how fast the lens is and how good the sensitivity of the sensor is, as well as any clever AI denoising that they've got going on in there. And so on the Insta360, they have a mode called pure video mode, and that's especially for shooting at night or in low light conditions, and it is just, well, I hate the cliche, but yeah, night and day. Again, I'll throw in some comparisons with the GoPro and the Insta360 in pure video mode, but yeah, just total night and day comparison. Whether that's important to you, whether you shoot much at night and not, only you know, but it's good to have the feature. As well as pure video mode, we've also got Freeframe Mode, and that basically lets you shoot one big image and then later you can choose whether to take it horizontally or vertically. Obviously, if you're shooting lots of stuff these days, maybe when you're shooting it, you're not sure if you're going to be using it on social media, on the mobile, you want it vertical, or if you're going to be using it in a video and you want it horizontal. So that lets you take the whole image and then crop into it how you want later. Also lets you adjust all your stabilization stuff in post after the fact. So if you do want to go the geeky route of like shooting everything and then doing more work in post, you can do that. But Insta360 are probably trying to push you towards doing everything in camera. So especially with the chips that they've got in there now, you can do a lot more stuff in camera that you could do before. Like even some of the editing and chopping down clips, you can all do in camera now. I'll talk more about that later when I talk about the AI editing, but yeah. You've got the choice basically. You can still do the old school like do everything in post mode, or you can try do everything in camera. It's up to you. Another mode, as you're scrolling through the modes on the camera, is the slow motion mode. So as I said in the beginning, we've got 4K 120 frames a second. So 120 frames a second basically lets you slow the footage down to about a fourth or a fifth of real time, and still you got full 4K resolution, so everything still looks super crisp and super tidy. If you don't mind going down to 1080p, which again still looks great, you can do 240 frames per second. And in which case you're at like a tenth of real speed. You can really slow stuff down, and that's always an interesting, cool effect too. Another mode in the camera as you're scrolling through is the photo mode. So you can take beautiful 48 megapixel photos with this thing. Like I say, taking full use of that Leica lens and that huge sensor. Another cool thing about having that really big sensor with lots of pixels in it is you can do digital zoom up to 2 times without losing any resolution. So if you're just shooting in 4K, you can double tap on the screen, it'll zoom into 200% zoom, and you won't lose any resolution, because as I said, it's actually like an 8K sensor, so you crop into it 200%, you still got 4K resolution, so that's a cool feature too. Again, action cameras have super wide lenses, so sometimes if you're shooting something that's a bit far away, or not even that far away, and you want to crop it a bit more, it really helps to have that quick zoom. And like I say, just double tap on the back of the screen, boom, it zooms in, and you've got a much tighter lens. Now, something I talked about earlier was how Insta360 are now letting you do more and more stuff in camera. One of the ways they're doing that is with their AI highlights. So when you've got AI highlights turned on, Basically, whenever you're recording, it's automatically looking for interesting things or what it thinks is interesting things in the video and basically is marking them. And then when you finish, you can review the video and see the points it marked. And then you can ask the camera itself to chop down the video to just those interesting bits for you. And you can manually adjust them if they're not perfect or whatever. But then what you can do from then is then save that chopped down version and delete the full 4K super long video. And that saves you room on your SD card and also saves you time transferring to your phone or transferring to your PC later. So letting you do a lot more stuff on the camera itself, so you have less to do in post later on the phone or the computer. Another feature, which maybe you saw in the intro, they have this new feature called AI Warp. And now this is more of like an app feature or like a cloud feature, but basically, so stuff you shot on the camera, you don't even have to sync it to your phone, you have to connect the phone to the camera. Basically, you can choose like a 15-second clip, and then of that 15-second clip, you can choose 4 seconds to be AI warped. And basically, you can either take the whole image or parts of the image and basically put an AI effect over the top. Kind of like all of this AI generated imagery you see these days from Midjourney or whatever. They've got a few presets in there like cyberpunk and anime, but it's just a really cool effect. I'm sure it'll get overdone in the weeks coming, but for now it looks pretty fresh and pretty cool. And yeah, it's really quick. Like I say, one of these clips, these like 10 seconds clips, each clip took me like 10 seconds to film the clip, and then the whole post-processing process probably took like 2 or 3 minutes. So to make something like that in 2 or 3 minutes is just mind-blowing. If you've got a background in visual effects, you'll know. So yeah, super cool effect. Apparently they're going to be adding more to it in the coming days and weeks. So really cool to see what they'll do with that. Super cool feature. Like I say, it's probably going to get overused, but I like it. Another cool feature, especially for the kind of person who doesn't like to do footage on your PC, is the ability to add the GPS data overlays. So Insta360 have partnered with Garmin and Garmin Connect, and also Apple for Apple Watch. So if you record the ride or whatever activity you're doing on your Garmin or on your Apple Watch, then at the same time you record some video on the camera. When you look at the footage of the camera on your phone, it will automatically find the data from that second that you were riding. So you don't have to choose the ride, you don't have to choose what part of the ride it was. As long as the time on your camera matches the time on your GPS, which it will, because every time you connect the camera to the phone, it syncs the time. You'll basically get the right thing. So super seamless. I'll drop in a clip here, but yeah, basically you open up the app, choose the video file on the app, and then hit the little stats button. You either choose Garmin Connect or choose Apple Watch, and then it'll bring the stats in, and then you can choose which stats you want on screen, heart rate on or off, or the map on or off, or whatever. Super quick. There's not that much customizing you can do, because like I say, the whole point of this feature is to make stuff simplified. But if you've just done something cool, or you've just finished a race, or you've just took a KOM, and you want to show your friends really quickly, and you just want to do it all on your phone, that is an absolute killer feature. Like, you don't have to sync fit files, you don't have to do it on your PC with a Garmin Verb app, Garmin Verb Edit like you had to before. So yeah, kudos to Insta360 for getting that working. It's a really cool feature. So what do I think makes this a good camera for cyclists? Like I say, I've been part of the Insta360 like internal, external development team, whatever you want to call it, and giving them feedback on their products from a cyclist point of view for the past few months now. And yeah, it's good to see them taking stuff on board. Now, what do I think is good about this for a cyclist? So number one, a good example would be the Garmin stats I just showed you. That's obviously a very cyclist-centric feature. Number two, I think the slow-mo that we talked about earlier, I think slow-mo is great for cyclists, like especially if you're shooting your friends. Everyone likes to see a good slow-motion sprint. Number three is the gesture control. So let me give you a quick demo of this. I'll actually do it with the screen down so you guys can see what I'm seeing. So let's say you've got the camera on a selfie stick, or let's say they've got the camera mounted on your friend's bike in front, pointing back of you. All you have to do is raise your palm like this, and the camera starts recording. Doesn't matter if you've got sunglasses on, doesn't matter if you've got a helmet on, doesn't matter about anything like that. So just put your hand up again, and it'll stop recording again. Palm open, facing towards the camera, and it stops recording and saves your file. If you're not doing a video, if you want to take a photo, you just do the yeah, and it gives you a countdown, 3, 2, 1. Get your pose on and your photo is taken. So again, sounds goofy, but one thing for me, I often have my cameras on a selfie stick, and now it gets to the point where I want to take a picture or start a video, I have to roll it in, press record, and then roll it out again. Like, in the first 3 seconds of the video is the camera being rolled out. So now, super cool, we can just put our hands up like this, boom, we start recording, blah, 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 blah. When you finish the video, hand up again, boom, we stop recording. So sounds like a gimmick, but I've been using it and use it pretty much every ride. Of course, you've also got voice control, but if you're riding along the bike at 30, 40 k's an hour, the wind noise, it might not be able to hear you. So gesture control, let's take a picture. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Yeah. Super cool feature. Another cool feature for cyclists, I guess, is the mounting system. So if you've noticed on the bottom of this, there's like no mounts or no thread holes or anything. So now they have this. It's another magnetic kind of like quick release system. So for example, on this guy, boom, he goes in here and now he's on, and then we're pressing these little ears and boom, he's off. So it goes on, goes off, goes on. Super satisfying, like a magnetic click as the little arms go in. And then this can either fold down to be a traditional 3-prong mount, or a GoPro mount as most people call it, or if you fold it out, you've got a traditional tripod thread in there as well. So why is this good for cyclists? You can put one of these mounts on your handlebars, put one of the mounts under your saddle, or one of the mounts on your chest mount or your helmet mount, and just quickly move the camera between all the positions. So put it on the bike and get some footage, then just take it off the bike and get some selfie footage, put it on your chest cam, put it on your helmet cam. So these little magnets are a cool way of doing things. So in the beginning of the video, I said this is one of 2 new cameras because this is the Ace Pro. There's also the regular Ace, but most of the focus is on the Ace Pro. This is like the real powerhouse of the show. It's got the bigger sensor, etc, etc. But it's a super interesting release to see from Insta360. You know, see them going head to head with the big dog, the GoPro, and them not trying to make a camera that's, you know, better than GoPro for the money. They're just trying to make a camera that's better than GoPro full stop. Because talking of money, this thing actually retails for more than the GoPro. So I think the official retail price of the GoPro Hero 12 Black is $399 US. This is $50 more at $449. So yeah, they're not trying to beat the GoPro for their price, they're just trying to beat the GoPro. Now, from what you've seen in this video, I think it's got better stats and better picture quality than the GoPro. Are you a hardcore user? That's for you to decide. Like, you know, the clue's in the name. It's called the Ace Pro. Like, this is for people who really want the best video quality from their cycling rides. If you don't want the best, or, you know, if you're happy with okay quality, Insta360 obviously have a million options out there, including the regular Ace. The regular Ace comes in a bit cheaper than the GoPro. If you want to know about the other Insta360 cameras, I've got a bunch of videos on my channel. Basically, almost every camera they bring out, I end up reviewing. I think they've all got their strengths and their weaknesses, but now it's good to have a camera that's just an all out and out action camera for getting just good quality action camera shots. So in summary, who is it for? Should you buy it, etc, etc? I think it's for people who just want the best of the best picture quality. You know, if you're shooting YouTube videos or any kind of videos, usually you're shooting on a mirrorless or whatever, and you want to chop in some action camera videos without it being like a sudden, whoa, where did the quality go? I think this is one of the few action cameras where you can put shots from this in with other quality cameras and it's not a jarring thing for the audience. So yeah, so watching tiny cameras this small pumping out such high quality video is getting crazy. Would I buy one with my own money? Yes, but like I say, my job is to make cycling videos both on YouTube and part of my production company. So for me, something like this is priceless basically. But for you guys judge for yourself. Do you need the extra picture quality? Do you need that low light performance? Do you need the gesture controls? Do you need all these things? If you do, then links in the links in the description down below. Go over to the website and check it out. Again, I want to say thank you to Insta360 for sponsoring this video. I love working with them to try to develop more stuff that's cyclist centric. They listen to all the feedback and it's super cool to work with them. So again, take everything I say with a pinch of salt, but I'm only going to work with people if I think they're good to work with and if they're making good products. So I think that's worth something as well. But yeah, if it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe because I review lots of camera stuff here, especially cycling related stuff. And yeah, if you made it this far, give the video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of this? Can it go head to head with the GoPro? And I'll see you next time. China Cycling out.